Hey class, so for this week's announcement, I wanted to post a video one. That way I could try to explain to you exactly what you're going to be working on the last few weeks of this class because just being upfront, it's going to be a busy last few weeks. So as you know, when you sign up for an 8-week class, we still have to meet the same course objectives and requirements that I would do in a 16-week class, which means there is quite a bit of work that we are doing in half amount of time. And I think so far, this class, you've done very well keeping up with all of the material. And we are entering now what I consider to be the challenging part of the class because you're going to be working on 2 modules at the same time. So let me explain to you exactly what you're going to be doing. So far in the class, what we've worked on, really focused on in the beginning, was just looking at the argumentative style and getting a good understanding of exactly how to set up an argument in your writing. So things like answering what they say, including what they say in your argument, finding credible sources, documenting those sources, working in different types of documentation. So not just MLA like you did in English 111, but also APA, which is going to be very important for those of you as you enter into any sort of medical field or other classes that may require you to have APA background knowledge. So we did that at the beginning of the class, and then we shifted to what you're currently working on, which is developing an argument through your personal observations. So hopefully you are now entering into the drafting stage of that assignment, because so far you have submitted a proposal. And you should have received feedback. If you haven't, you will be getting that probably by the end of today, if not by tomorrow morning. You have submitted to me your sources and how you intend to use those sources in your paper. So you've begun to research what others have said about the predictions that you've made. And now you should begin to observe. So for this week, your main goal is to start your observation. So far in your topic proposal, you made some predictions on what you expect to find. So now you should begin to start to look for those and see if your predictions actually come true or if they do not come true. So that's one thing you're going to be working on. So this week you should be observing, starting your drafting. There's a pretty good example in the class, exactly how you're going to be organizing it. Because remember, you're graded on the analysis of your sources, the organization of your paper, and then of course your actual observation of what you predicted and then what you found, and then the outcome of your study. So you have to be pretty thorough in what you observed, how you observed it, and then the outcome of that. So there's all that discussion is in the module, as well as an example paper for you to look at. I also have a rubric that I will be uploading to the assignment itself. That way you can get an idea of how I grade when it comes to this particular assignment. So that's step 1, is working on your observation report. And that final draft is due the 29th. And as a reminder, which I'm sure I'll be repeating in many, many announcements, this is a large part of your final grade. And I expect it to reflect that we've worked on it for, it'll be a month by the time when you submit it. So I expect it to reflect that amount of time. So I encourage you to use the Writing Center. You can do that with a direct link in our class. You can set up a session and do it online if you're not able to go to the campus. But I do encourage you to do that. And then, of course, you can always ask me any questions at any time. So that's one thing you'll be working on. At the same time that you're working on that assignment, we're also starting our next module, which is our final type of argument that we're doing in this class, which is argument in literature. So many of you, when you complete English 112, you will be going on to the final English class, whether that's American literature or British literature. If you are taking American Lit, then we might come across each other again. But many of you will be going on to taking a literature class. So the final step in English 112 is a beginning lit analysis. So I have posted in the module terms and types of literary analysis. There's links for you to review. And then there's 3 stories from which you can choose. Under those stories, there are the guidelines for the lit analysis. So I have specific writing prompts that you can select from. So that's helpful. one on each of the stories, so you can read through them and decide which one of them you'd like to work on. The lit analysis itself, it's 2 to 4 pages, and it is MLA format. So you're going to be working in APA format on one hand because it's a scientific approach, and you're going to be working in MLA because it is English paper. So MLA is used by the humanities, so English would fall under that, whereas APA is used by the social sciences, which is, of course, what you're doing when you're doing your observation. So you're going to be working on both papers really at the same time. So it's up to you how you're going to be budgeting your time when it comes to these 2 assignments, but they're due relatively back to back. So you're really going to have to be budgeting your time on these 2 papers. In addition to that, although we do not have a discussion this week, I will have one more discussion in this class. So there will be one more discussion that you'll be working on that week of the 29th. So you want to be sure that you allow yourself time when we get to that you're also participating for those credits as well. So that's what's coming up the next couple weeks. If you have any questions over any of that, please reach out to me at any time.